Good morning, welcome to Dunrobin Castle. Dunrobin is the seat or the family home of the Sutherland family and has been for over 700 years. Dunrobin, the name, means Robin's Castle. Dun is the Gaelic word for fort or castle. So it was founded by Robin, Earl Robin, back in 1275. The castle now has 189 rooms, the first of which is here in front of you, the dining room, set with family silver by Garrards of London. The table at the moment is set for 10, but it can be extended and we will seat 24 people actually around the table. It is occasionally used by the family for dinners. Many of the portraits in front of you are of the first Duke of Sutherland and his family. At either end of the dining room there are portraits of Duchess Harriet. Duchess Harriet was the wife of the second Duke of Sutherland, who built the large extension here to Dunrobin in 1850.
How often was this castle actually used for family gatherings and...
Well, up until 1963, the castle was used solely by the family. It was never their main residence. It was like a summer residence. Their main residence at the time was Stafford House, which is in London. Then Dunrobin was their Highland retreat. So although there are 189 rooms, Dunrobin was only really designed to accommodate sort of 30 people, with around 70 staff to look after those 30 people.
Was this their hunting lodge? Because I see all of these.
Yeah, you could say that's something like that. Like I say, their main retreat in London, or there was also Trentham House as well, Trentham Gardens in Staffordshire. So there were a number of properties that the family owned. This was really just built as their Highland retreat, although it's not what you would call a Highland castle. Because of the design of the building, it's more like a French Chateau.
So this used to be a boys' school.
It was a boys' school from 1965 to 1972. The castle was used as a public boys' school. What happened when the 5th Duke of Sutherland died in 1963, they then decided that it wasn't possible for them to live here, the family. So they opened the building up as a boys' school. The top 2 floors are where the boys slept. So those were their dorms on the top 2 floors. And this room here, the drawing room here, was used for assembly. So the boys, whatever it was, once a week got together and they would come in here. It was also used for classrooms. Many of the rooms were used for classrooms. I believe the dining room was for maths. The music room, I think, was an English room, and then of course the library was used as a library. So it was perfect for that. The drawing room here is the largest room in the house. This was originally 2 rooms, but when the castle caught fire in 1915 during the First World War, a large part of the castle was destroyed, and this was one of the parts which was destroyed. So the building was redone or rebuilt in 1919, and the remodeling of the building, they decided not to have this 2 smaller rooms to make it, but to make it into a much grander drawing room. Luckily, very luckily, the artwork and the tapestries survived the fire, because the castle was being used as a naval hospital at the time, and the artwork tapestries were in storage, so they were in another part of the castle and weren't lost to the fire.
So this is quite the library.
Yes, we believe there's 10,000 books in here. I've never actually felt like counting them myself, but it's a beautiful room. It's probably one of my favourite rooms in the castle. There's a huge variety of books in here, many dating from early 1800s, a lot which are original Scottish law. So occasionally you have law students who are researching their coursework, and they'll come along and ask if it's possible to have a look at some of the books. So it is used occasionally. Every now and then we've had weddings in here in the past. It's a lovely, very sort of intimate room for weddings. And I think one of probably is my favourite portrait at the very end of the room there, Duchess Eileen. She was the first wife of the 5th Duke of Sutherland, and she was largely responsible for a lot of what you see the castle now, of how it's designed, how it's laid out. And it's a very striking pose by the artist De Laszlo.
When was that painted?
Yeah, good question.
Well, I was just noticing the clothing that she's wearing. It's having your shoulders showing like that is a little risque for the time, would you think?
Yeah, there's not even a plaque. It'll be early 1900s.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that.
Very modern.
Yeah. Duchess Eileen, during the First and Second World War, she was a voluntary nurse alongside Duchess Millicent, who was her stepmother. Pardon me, that's not correct. Not stepmother, her mother-in-law. So they were helping the soldiers and the naval casualties during the war as well. That's when the castle burnt down in 1915. That's what it was used as a naval hospital.
Oh, I remember reading that.
So part of
so that was her doing.
Yeah, and her mother-in-law as well, Duchess Millicent.
So these tapestries were commissioned for Queen Victoria's visit.
So this is the green and gold bedroom. Again, this is where the French style, French influence still comes through the building. We have Gobelin tapestries in this room. We have a pair of Gobelin tapestries. The bed behind me here, this is the bed that was commissioned for Queen Victoria's visit in 1842. So while she stayed here at Dunrobin, this was the bed that she used, and then latterly this was then Duchess Eileen's bedroom and her apartment. It was this contains one of the suites. So there was a bedroom, dressing room, and the bathroom. And this is now into one of the older parts of the castle as well. This part of the building was built 1784 by the 1st Duke of Sutherland. Well, so the doll's house and the rocking horse that are in the nursery here actually belong to the current Countess's daughter, Lady Annabel. They both date from around the 1950s, and it's lovely that current families still have some of their belongings in Dunrobin Castle, because it is still their family home. You know, it's not like we try very hard not to set out Dunrobin to look like a museum. It is still their family home, and we do try very hard to make sure that, or to give the impression that if you could walk into a room and imagine that the family have been using that room earlier in the day.
I think that's fantastic, so, yeah.
Because there are still private apartments in the castle. The Countess does still have a private apartment here, although she doesn't use it at this time of year. The family are there to use it whenever they want. Most of the family live in the area. They still have cottages, houses in the area. So they are still very much involved with the running of the castle, the day-to-day running of Dunrobin, which is a charitable trust, and it's most of the trustees are family members. So this was brought back, I believe, by the third Duke of Sutherland after one of their trips away from Scotland on their yacht. So, but again, this is one of the bedrooms here. This would have been for the older children, and then if we walk through here, there's another room which is the night nursery for the infants, and also has the nanny's room, the nanny's bed in the corner where the nanny would have stayed with the younger children. And if you come to here, yeah, so the nanny would have actually slept with the young children as well. Another interesting thing is this: when you're up here with the bedrooms and the nursery, this is as far away as you can get from the front door. Because there's the old saying that children should be seen and not heard. So the children would have spent the majority of their time in this part of the building, and then if the family had any guests or who were coming to visit, they then would have come down. The children would have been taken down to meet those and greet the guests, and then come back up to this part of the building.
It's kind of a sad way to do it, but I guess every generation has their quirks.
It's the way that it was. That's the way that children were back then.
So this room.
Well, this is now the Seamstress Room. This is a room that we created to display the Duke and Duchess's coronation robes. These would have been used probably for various English monarchs for the coronation. But it is also the haunted room, because this is in one of we're right back into the older part of the building now, that dates from 1300s. And the story that goes along with the haunted room here is in the 15th century, the Earl of Sutherland captured a young girl from the clan Mackay after a battle with the clan, and he locked her up here. And the idea was that he would force her to marry her, but she refused. And then one night, when he came to her room, he found her trying to escape down a rope of sheets. And in a rage, he took out his sword, cut sheets, and she fell to her death on the outside of the building. And nobody's ever seen her in the building, but it's said that you can still hear her crying for her lost family as well. So the keep now, the original part, sits in the centre of the castle, because all the later extensions surround the building.
This is the Duke's study.
Yeah, again, this is we're still in the older part of the castle. So this room here shows the Duke's study, which was there's the only really secret room or little secret doors that we have are at the back here. There's a small door which leads to a small oak staircase which would have gone all the way up to his wife's bedroom and the lady's sitting room. It also would have taken the Duke downstairs. So from this one room, he had access to all levels of the castle before the new addition of the castle in 1850.
I'm getting chills, not just because it's cold and it's Scotland, but because of the feeling here and how beautiful it is. Can you just imagine them coming and playing croquet in this little thing? I feel like this is the place you could come to hide from everybody in the castle and steal a kiss.